Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here for my favorite subjects, comic books. Sorry, I got distracted. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plots and analysis and character bios for this issue. This is a sad issue, and not sad in so much in what happens in the issue, but it is Chris Claremont's final issue of the New Mutants. We're looking at New Mutants number 54 from 1987. Now, this is not the final work of Chris Claremont in New Mutants because we will be covering New Mutants Forever, which is supposed to take place after events from this issue going on. So we see a cover by Mike Mignola here. Some people say Mignola. There's a G, so Mignola to me. It's early, so it's not quite the Mignola that we are used to. Terry Alston is his inker, and we've got Karma, and we have Cannonball here. So all right, the inside is not Mike Mignola. It is Sal Buscema with Terry Austin. And so we have Rat Race. And we are continuing where we left off. The Hellfire Club. They're having a gala. And this is Tessa, not the Black Queen. And so the Chris Claremont makes sure to tell us here. Tom Orzechowski, my goodness, he deserves a hand for all these lettering that he does. Jim Shooter, rest in peace, editor-in-chief, although Tom DeFalco will be taken over. And Nascenti continues the editorial. Louise Simonson will be taken over starting with the next issue. However, this will be the last issue of New Mutants. I actually only own like 3 issues of her run, which is the Mutant Massacre. And then, of course, I do have the issues that she did with Rob Liefeld. But those the New Mutants was in serious trouble. Nobody was reading it, unfortunately, including me. I had stopped collecting it. Brett Blevins, who is the artist that takes over. Just the visuals were just different. I like Brett Blevins. I don't think New Mutants was his cup of tea. It just didn't work. Louise Simonson is very much like Chris Claremont, very wordy, likes to put in a lot of drama, and part of the reason Rob Liefeld was he just kept I don't know, they kept clashing because she was trying to tell a story and Rob Liefeld is like, doing his own thing. So anyway, Karma here is trying to take over Tessa and Possessor, and she realizes Tessa is fighting her. She thought she'd be easy because she's Sebastian's. Chris Claremont has sort of. She was in. What was that X-Men title that Chris Claremont was doing? Extreme X-Men. Was it Sage? Was that her name? I really don't remember. But she's a character Chris Claremont kind of goes back to, and so but she's going to continue and eventually does take her over. And so Karma wants her to take she says here that she would have the computer codes, but it appears that will be the least we can do. So she needs some computer codes here. So she's going to access all the databases that were available during that time. Of course, she is looking for her brother and sister. And she realizes that no data is available. And she's like, can they be so well hidden? And so you see a hand coming to grab her. And so, of course, it is Sebastian Shaw who slams her against the servers. Or at that time, it is the 80s. And he says, don't even think of using your power on me, girl, or it'll be your last thought. And Tessa says, Shaw, don't. I'm unhurt. And so And so he asks, what did she want? And Tessa says she's looking for her brother and sister. And then she says, let her go. No, sorry. Magneto says, let her go. And he says, certainly. But the girl is your pupil. I strongly suggest you teach her her proper place. And Magneto, I say Magneto, not Magneto. Um, he says, if you wanted information, you had only to ask. So we have the White Queen and we have the Black Queen. So of course, the White Queen is Emma Frost. The Queen is Celine. I don't know her last name. And so she says, they used to be the bad guys. I don't know if I would have believed their answers. And Tessa says, either way, you would have been the same. Magneto had me try the same search program weeks ago and constantly updated. I'm sorry, Karma. I wish I could tell you differently, but there's no trace of your brother and sister. And so while the party is going on here, we have the New Mutants and the Hellions are the two leaders, which are Mirage and Warpath here. Um, he's Thunderbird's brother here. And so they're still arguing about Cypher and Roulette from the previous issue. I do have a playlist. I have covered every issue of the New Mutants written by Chris Claremont. So everything from number 1 through 54. And then actually that includes the graphic novel, the specials, all the annuals. Feel free to check that out. So they're decided to, they're going to settle a contest between the New Mutants and the Hellions to see who is better here. And they're going to determine the person that sold this forgery. So some crook, I'll just read what they're supposed to do here. Some crook sold this forgery to one of the club members, costing him a lot of money, even more face. The deal is both teams hunt down the creep responsible. Losers apologize publicly for the insults and take the rap for any trouble with our teachers. Deadline is sunrise. Agreed. Any rules, Thunderbird. Whatever you like. And she says, typical. The way you Hellions won't have to worry about cheating. May the better team win. And she says, that'll be us. So said Custer, little Cheyenne, before he met your ancestors on the Little Bighorn. So, all right. So Ileana teleports herself there, bringing clothes to the New Mutants here. We still have a drunk Cypher here. And we have Wolfsbane, who's like, my gosh, things have changed so much. Feels bad for him. And there's Amara thinking about that statue. It is, the original statue is of her people. And so Cypher has to go throw up. He's drunk here. So they're going to try to sober him up here. So they can do that. And here's Magma. No, Cannonball. The Hellions have insulted us. Are we to let that pass unanswered? Our pride has been earned, my friends, paid for with sweat and no little blood. It is not a thing Magma would lightly cast aside, especially with the honor of a comrade at stake. And so Elena says, even one who acted like a royal butthead, what the heck's Magneto's already grounded us forever. What's the more he can do? So they are going. She had mentioned that plan that they're going to do. By the way, there is no Sunspot. He is in the Fallen Angels limited series. And so they're basically they're wearing the uniforms that they wore in X-Men Annual number 10. And so they are going to change. And notice how Chris Claremont just loves the mundane. I mean, we could have. This is one of the things Rob Liefeld did. He wanted to get into the action and leave almost no time for the drama and all the setup that is in there. So, meanwhile, she's looking at the piece of the that statue here. So here we go. And so these are pretty cool. Look at Cypher still in there. I don't know why he's got the Cyclops visor, but hey. And so they give Karma her uniform, and she has, I have to find my family, so she's gonna take another leave of absence. I don't think she ever comes back because I don't think Louise Simonson did anything with her. So she leaves to go find her relatives, and I like this little detail with Magma because she's hot, so melting the snow here. So they're gonna look here at the park here, and she says, "Found anything?" And all of a sudden she jumps up, "No, no, 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 no!" And they're like, "What the heck?" Um, and Murat says, "You sounded terrified." He goes, "I was, with good reason. The Hellfire gentleman received his statue, and I recognize the scent of those who gave it to him. Danny, it was a silver samurai and the Viper, of course. That is from early on in the, I think, New Mutants, like, um, 5, 6, 7. And so here is Karma here, um, talking about the family that is the New Mutants, and someone comes from her, and it is Magneto, and he says that she's cold, and she says, "I've survived worse." And he says, "During Vietnam, during the war," and she says, "Afterwards." And he says, "I've lost my family too. Um, you have my word. I will find Liang and is it and Ga or just Ga? I don't know if the N is silent. I apologize. I only wish to keep you safe while I do so." And she thinks that it's easy to let her. So they go inside, and so he wonders about the mutants. He goes, "I trust they'll behave themselves," and it's like, "Oh, I'm sure they will." So all right, now we are in the New York Harbor. Here's the World Trade Center and the Staten Island ferry here. They're also looking for who could possibly have done so. And Ileana's watching them here from Limbo here. And they found them, they believe they have found them on Shooter's Island, which is not a real island. So named after Jim Shooter here. And teach the mutants a lessons here. So also Warlock is not here. I'm sorry, he's also with Sunspot in that Fallen Angel. And the problem with Cypher is he feels scared, particularly without because he's basically powerless. All he can do is his mutant power is the speech. He doesn't fight. He doesn't throw lasers or anything like that. So they go into this island here, and we have this lady here, and all of a sudden sees this rabbit here, and it was Mirage causing it, and then uses a pinch like the Vulcan death grip and knocks her out, and sees this other guy, says, and magic appears here, and so they're gonna go look for, see if they can find them. And so you can see Cannonball is knocking everybody out. And I think Buscema is going to take over. Oh my goodness. Spectacular Spider Man after this, which he has a very long run. And so you can see Wolfsbane is kind of dealing with this. And she uses her powers to create an image of Viper and the Silver Samurai, which of course scares them away. And somebody has a Mirage on their sights, and Cypher sees that. He gets in the way and takes the hit, which Magma then deals with him and catches him, and they deal with the rest. But Cypher is hurt, and you can see Wolfsbane is like, "Oh no." And so Magic is angry, and this guy's like, "Please, I'm sorry, I'll confess, I'll plead guilty. I don't want to fry. Hey, pal, forget about Magma and worry about me." And so it turns out that Cypher is okay, and she hugs him. And so she throws him in that fire prison here. And they're like, one of them has to take us to them. And the Hellions says, "That won't be necessary, Mirage. If you wish to find Viper and the Samurai, you simply have to look up, and they've been captured here." And so the Hellions did it while the New Mutants were busy with all the other people. Um, they were able to deal with them, and of course they knew that they'd be spied through. So the Hellions are declared winners even by the New Mutants, which of course they're like yay, and the New Mutants is like whatever. And so they're back at the party here, and now they're actually relaxed, and these two kind of have a moment here. And Tessa comes with a note from Karma, and of course, she says here that she's leaving, and so they're angry that she's left. Cypher's like, we have to go help her, and Cannonball says, hey, she asked us to stay out of it, and you can see that he is still pissed off. And so they said, she's a grown woman. This was her decision. We owe it to respect her. And so we end here kind of with a thing here. What a mess. We got so caught up in busting the Hellions' chops, we forgot to look after someone who really needed us. I may be war chief and co-leader of this team, Eliana, but I've got to learn. I only hope nobody else suffers while I do. And so it says here, a whole new ball game, and creatively speaking, something completely different, which of course Louise Simonson will be the new writer. So this is it. This is the last issue of New Mutants that I will be covering until Rob Liefeld comes back. So New Mutants number 54, Chris Claremont, Sal Buscema with Terry Austin. Like and subscribe, and I do thank you so much for listening. And then I will be covering uh, the New Mutants Forever, so that one will be coming. Goodbye.